Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Hi, this is nutritional pharmacist Jerry Hickey for another episode of the Invite Health podcast. And today we're talking about vitamin A, really important vitamin. It's needed for your immune system. It's needed for vision. Vitamin A is required for so many things. Yes, it's core to vision. It's also needed for your thyroid function. Your thyroid is a master gland that controls your metabolism, your energy, and so many other things. Vitamin A is needed to create healthy cells, so it's needed to keep cells from mutating, and it's also needed to heal. Vitamin A is really important for your immune system, and we're going to go into this, and also for the function of our steroid hormones, which is a whole bunch of different hormones. Now, the term vitamin A is a generic term. It refers to two forms. The active form of vitamin A, that's found in meat, that's found in dairy, that's found in eggs. It's known as retinol. And the inactive form of vitamin A, called beta-carotene, which you find in fruits and vegetables. And this is an important distinction. Too much of the preformed active form of vitamin A can be toxic. Beta-carotene is not toxic. It's not yet active, and it has to be converted into the active form of vitamin A. And the body has a feedback mechanism. If it sees that there's too much active vitamin A in the bloodstream already, it slows down the production of vitamin A out of beta-carotene. By the way, the active form is called retinol. There's hundreds of carotenoids in plants, by the way, hundreds. They're pigments of the plants. They're giving them these rich red colors and oranges and yellows. One of the things it does is it attracts pollinators. Now, only 3 of them that we know of are converted into vitamin A, the main one being beta-carotene. That's, you get that from carrots and sweet potatoes and certain melons. But our body can also convert alpha-carotene and beta-cryptoxanthin into vitamin A, and those are 2 of the more common carotenoids you get in the American diet. By the way, always take a carotenoid supplement or vitamin A with food. The reason for that is these are fatty soluble pigments, and the fats in foods improve the absorption of the supplement. Now, if you lack the mineral zinc, by the way, your body fails to release adequate levels of vitamin A from its storage sites in your liver. That's another thing. Your liver can store some vitamin A, and you use that later on when you need it. But if you lack zinc, you can't release it properly. So on everybody's mind right now, immunity. We're going into cough and cold season. We're going into flu season. And of course, coronavirus is still around, the first wave of it. In fact, a recent study shows that only about 10% of Americans have been infected with the current coronavirus. The current coronavirus is a coronavirus. The actual name of it is SARS-CoV-2, and the name of the infection it causes is COVID-19. So that's where you're hearing all these different names. So let's discuss vitamin A and immunity, because guess what? Coughs and colds are right around the corner, which is complicated with COVID-19. One of the first barriers to infection is our skin. Vitamin A is required to make skin, to make it healthy. And vitamin A is required to make virtually every cell in your body. Now, there's cells lining parts of our body called mucosal cells. They're important to the respiratory tract, so they're important in our lungs. They're also important to the lining of our digestive tract and our urinary tract. And these mucosal cells function as a first line of defense against viruses and bacteria and other infectious organisms. Now, one of the forms of vitamin A, called retinoic acid, is produced by immune cells in these tissues. These immune cells include what we call macrophages and dendritic cells. This is important because they're the early cells that react to viral infections. And if they do their job, it helps prevent the virus from ever becoming very dangerous. So the dendritic cells, they act as messengers for the immune system. They carry messages to what we call our T cells, and the T cells act in different ways. The T cells can summon other immune cells to identify and kill the infectious virus like the coronavirus. And then when the infection's done, they call off the attack, otherwise you'd be perpetually inflamed, which is never a good thing. Vitamin A allows these dendritic cells to present the infectious microbe, whether it's a virus or a bacteria, to our T cells. But also T cells that run the immune system, allowing the destruction of the organism, they require vitamin A to mature into their proper infection-fighting form or their proper immune system controlling forms. Now, vitamin A is stored in the liver. People with low reserves of vitamin A stored in their liver, they have reduced levels of retinol in their blood, and they become more susceptible to infection. So you need to get vitamin A. It's important to note that there's evidence that patients with underactive thyroid glands, and possibly diabetics also, they're not totally efficient at converting beta-carotene from vegetables and fruits into vitamin A. So they may require a low dosage of preformed vitamin A as a supplement or to get it from meat products. I'll tell you later on what are the best foods to get preformed vitamin A or the best foods to get beta-carotene from. Now, vision. Our retina is in the back of our eyes, and it has rods and cone cells. Rod cells detect motion, but they also allow you to see in low light, night vision, or driving in the rain, driving in the snow, etc. And the thing is that they require vitamin A to function. And I'll explain how in a second. But one of the reasons why you don't see color at night is rod cells don't detect color. Those are the cone cells. We're talking about them later because they also depend on vitamin A for activity. So the rod cells that allow you to drive at night and see at night and not trip over something when you're going to the bathroom at night, there's a form of vitamin A that attaches to the protein in them. The protein's called opsin, and this forms rhodopsin. We also call this visual purple. Now, rhodopsin you need in the daytime for fine vision, like when you're on the internet, on your Facebook page, etc. But you absolutely need it at night for night vision. So a molecule of light, that's called a photon, when it hits the rod cell, it affects the vitamin A, sending a signal to your brain. This allows you to see in the dark. Now, once again, the reason you don't see color at night, these cells don't detect color. So you just see variations in brightness. Now, cone cells in the retina, they contain red and green and blue proteins called opsins. And photons of color from the visual spectrum of light, like blue or green or yellow or orange. They interact in a similar way with the vitamin A and the pigment, so you see these colors. So vitamin A is required for normal function of your retina, for night vision, for color vision, and a low level of vitamin A affects your ability to see in low light. Now, the most common cause of blindness is due to low levels of vitamin A, xerophthalmia. About 250,000 of 500,000 children go blind each year in poorer countries due to a lack of vitamin A in their diet. So they might live in an area where there's a famine or a war or a plague, and they're not getting vitamin A and they go blind. What happens when you lack vitamin A in your eye, it's not just about seeing in the dark, and it's not just about seeing color vision. You start to get a deficiency in your cornea, and the cornea thins and it ulcerates and you go blind. You need vitamin A for red blood cell production. This is very interesting. Red blood cells carry oxygen around the body, and vitamin A is intimately involved with that. I'll tell you how. Vitamin A allows the stem cells to convert into red blood cells. Then hemoglobin gives them their red color. So I always compare a red blood cell to balloons. A balloon could be yellow or blue or green or red or orange. That's your blood type. Make believe that's your blood type. But inside the balloon, they're all the same. And it's the same with a red blood cell. Inside the red blood cell, there's hemoglobin that always makes it red. And there's iron in the hemoglobin. The iron in the hemoglobin carries oxygen from your lungs and it delivers it wherever it's needed. to your muscles when you exercise, to your brain all the time, all over the place. The reason you feel so exhausted when you're slightly anemic, because you have less iron, if it's iron associated anemia, the most common form of anemia, if the iron is low, your blood is capable of delivering less oxygen and you're very fatigued. You can't even get off your bed. So vitamin A is needed to insert the iron into your hemoglobin. Now, what about your thyroid? Your thyroid gland is a little butterfly-shaped gland in your throat. It releases thyroid hormones that allow you to convert food into energy. So these hormones affect how strong your heart is and how fast it beats, how deep you breathe, how strong your muscles are, how much endurance you have, whether you gain or lose weight, your body temperature, your cholesterol level, women's menstrual cycle. Iodine is the major nutrient used by the thyroid to make the two thyroid hormones called T4 and T3. Vitamin A is required for the thyroid to take up iodine so it can incorporate the iodine into these hormones. So if you lack vitamin A, it's going to affect your thyroid function, and that's going to affect your metabolism. Steroid hormone activity. Steroid hormones include our sex hormones like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, pregnenolone. They also include hormones that work through the kidneys to control our blood pressure, the major one being aldosterone. This also controls the amount of fluid in our body, our blood volume. They also include our stress hormones such as cortisol, which are involved with immunity and with sugar metabolism. Now, vitamin D is also a steroid hormone. Vitamin A is required for steroid hormones to work at their receptor sites. Now, there's some other activities with vitamin A. There's white belly fat that just sits dormant on your belly. It's not really dormant. It inflames your heart and it can increase your risk of developing heart disease and diabetes. But if it's converted to brown fat, it's burnt easier to create energy. Vitamin A is required for thermogenesis, burning the fat to create energy. So there's another reason why you want sufficient vitamin A. So what are some sources of vitamin A? Well, you get preformed vitamin A from organ meats like liver and kidneys, but you find it in eggs, you find it in meat like even chicken, you find it in fatty fish, like salmon, and you find it in dairy products including whole milk and butter. Now, beta-carotene is the kind vegetarians get. That has to be converted to vitamin A, which is controlled directly by the liver. Readily available from many vegetables and also fruits, but especially from sweet potatoes, pumpkins, carrots, cantaloupe, spinach, collard green, kale, and squash. Just a little caveat, if you're going to take vitamin A preformed, the retinol, you never want to take more than 5,000 units in any single day. That's safe. Take it with food, it's absorbed better. 5,000 units is all you need. You don't need more than that. A lot of companies are making 10,000 units and 25,000 unit vitamin A. Don't take that. 5,000 is all you want. Okay? Now, and by the way, when I made the vision formulas, because I know diabetics frequently have problems with their vision, and diabetics can't convert beta-carotene very effectively into vitamin A, and you need vitamin A for your vision. And I know that a lot of diabetics will be using our vision formulas. Plus, I know a lot of people have thyroid disease, hypothyroidism, underfunctioning of the thyroid, and preformed vitamin A is important for them also. So in our vision formulas, like the Macula HX tablets and the Macula Advanced HX and the vegetarian capsules, I made sure it was mostly natural beta-carotene. You never want synthetic beta-carotene. A lot of vitamin companies use synthetic beta-carotene because it's cheaper. The problem is it gets in the way of regular beta-carotene from getting to its receptor site, so it's actually unhealthy to use. You want natural beta-carotene, which is the only thing we use. But I also put a small amount of preformed vitamin A because if you're diabetic or you have thyroid malfunction, you want a little bit of preformed because you need that for your vision. So thank you so much for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. Before I go, let me give you 2 email addresses. If you want to email me, I'm starting to get people emailing me now. They're finding me through the podcasts. My email address, if you have a question about something I said or anything about nutrition and your health, my background is pharmacy, nutrition, and biochemistry. My name is Jerry Hickey. jhickey@invitehealth.com. That's my email address, jhickey@invitehealth.com. And I'll give you another email address that goes right to 5 of my nutritionists, because we have a lot of naturopathic doctors and dietitians and clinical nutritionists working with Invite. Here's an email address that goes to 5 of them, nutrition@invitehealth.com. Nutrition@invitehealth.com. So thanks for tuning into the Invite Health Podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts, like all those Apple podcast platforms or iHeartRadio. Or you could just visit invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe. Please leave us a review. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @InviteHealth. I hope to see you another time on another episode of the Invite Health Podcast. And thank you so much for listening.